Hello, friends and family. My name is Caron Bailey. I am a 50 some odd year old woman. I won't tell you the exact age, but know that I'm there. And I'm starting this video series for me so that I can track my progress with diabetes as well as weight loss. So I have been diagnosed, I've been pre-diabetic for years. And apparently I just didn't do the right things in order to take myself out of that pre-diabetic status. Even though I walk, I exercise, I just couldn't get a handle on it. So about 2 years ago, my doctor said to me, well, you finally crossed that threshold. You are no longer pre-diabetic. You now are type 2 diabetic. So I am a type 2 diabetic. So for me, what that means is I have watched my weight fluctuate. I've done, I'm a vet. So I go through the VA, the Veterans Administration, for most all of my medical care. So I've watched my weight fluctuate. I joined what they call the MOVE program, which is to help you with weight loss. And I couldn't keep the consistency. And so just recently, I found out that I qualified for, based upon certain health conditions, and I'm not going to go tell you all of my health conditions, but I had to have at least 3 things in order for the VA to be able to prescribe me a GLP-1, in this case, Ozempic. So I met those 3 conditions, and so I am here to track my progress and track my journey, and hopefully you guys will come along with me as I do this. So let me just start. I got on the scale this morning, and my weight was 194.2. So I'm starting my journey at 194.2. I am a 5'3" tall woman, or short, depending on how you look at it. And so that's where I am. I find for me, my most problematic areas are, of course, for most African American women, is in my stomach area. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with my body. So my biggest problem for me, weight-wise, is in this region. And I'm going to show you, because obviously I'll show you the injection. So today marks the beginning of my Ozempic journey. I met with my pharmacist on Friday. I walked through how to use the product, what I need to do. And so in case you are not familiar with it, this is an injectable product right here. And you give yourself once a week a shot. Now, according to the instruction, this is an injectable. All of the medication is in here for 1 week, right? Pardon me, I have allergies, right? And so you can give yourself the shot in several places. You can do it in your stomach region. You can do it in your arm region. I've seen people say the back area, and then your thighs. I watched a video as well as talked to my pharmacist, and really the stomach. So you have 6 choices or 6 areas to choose from. And the recommendation is, and it's highly recommended, that you do not ever give yourself the shot in the same spot every week. So every week you have to rotate where you administer the dose. So the stomach for this purpose is divided into 2 different sections. So you'll have like the upper area here, the lower area here, and then the same on both sides. So you could do that. And then you have the upper thigh and the lower thigh. I'm going to start my journey with the left side upper abdomen area. So I've watched the video several times. So let me talk you through what needs to happen. So you'll need your injectable. You're going to need an alcohol wipe. You're going to need, and this is where the needles are. And then you're going to need a sharps container. I have a sharps container because I do check my blood sugar twice a week. I have to check it at least twice a week. So that's why I have a sharps container. So the first thing that they tell you is, before I do anything else, let's just prep everything. I'm going to take one of the needles out of the packaging. And there's 6 in here. So here's the needle, right? I won't need this. I'll put that back in the box. And then here is the alcohol prep pad. I showed you that already. So let's go ahead and take the cap off. And the thing that they tell you is to check and make sure that your medication, it should be clear to the eye, not discolored in any way, shape, or form, and to make sure that it's clear. It doesn't look like there's ice or any kind of debris in it. So that's the first thing that you do. And this looks pretty clear. This medication is stored in your refrigerator. At least that's where I stored mine. And I took it out about an hour ago to make sure that it was at room temperature before I start this process. All right, so that's the first thing that you do. And then you go ahead and you affix the needle. The needle is in here. You add it on. And you turn it until it's really tight and totally affixed in there. There we go, it's tight. Not so that you break it, but it's tight on the, then you remove the cap, right? I've removed the cap. And then there's a secondary cap, and we're gonna end up removing that as well, okay? Now, I don't like needles, but so I spoke to, okay, there's a bead right there. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little bit of a drop of Ozempic right on, of the medication right on the tip, okay? And that's what you want to see the first time you use the medication. And you make sure you see that drop the first time and first time only. After that, you don't need to do it again, okay? So now that you've primed the pump, or primed the injector, you'll go ahead and you'll see right here. So my understanding, and I don't have it in here, but my prescription says that I need to do 0.25 milligrams. So I'm gonna turn this until I see 0.25 milligrams. Can you see that it says 0.25 milligrams? Okay, so that's already done. I'm going to put this down aside. And then I'm going to prep the area. You're going to get to see my little fat belly right here. Sorry, guys, I have allergies. That's... Okay, so I am going to... So here's what I was telling you, that you have the upper... and then you have the lower, right? So I am going to, it says you should start about 2 inches away from the belly button. You should never inject directly into your belly button. But you have, so about 2 inches. Now, in case you're not tracking, this is approximately an inch. So if you put 2 fingers away, you should probably have an approximate area as to where that 2 inches is. You don't have to pinch the skin, but she said she did recommend that you do so. That way you can inject directly into where you need the medication to go. Once you clean the area, you go ahead and you make sure that you let it dry. Y'all, I hate needles, so this is kind of wigging me out a little bit here, right? So I'm letting it dry. And then it tells you, make sure when you're getting ready to inject it, you can see the dosage, because as the dose gets pushed into your skin, it will reset itself back to 0. Okay? Everything is clear. We're ready. Oh, wish me luck, y'all. All right, here we go. Father God, let me do this properly. Oh. Now, before I inject, once you have, it says do not inject and remove immediately. You kind of inject it, make sure that the reading goes back to 0, and then count to like maybe a 6 count or a 10 count, just to make sure all of the medication is entering your system. All right, here we go. Ugh. Well, I didn't feel anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I have just successfully administered my first dose of Ozempic. Let's just clean that area again. And I'm going to tell you, there was no pain. I didn't feel any pain with it. Oops. And so there we go. All right, so that's it. I am going to be posting, then we can just put this back on, remove the needle, dispose of the needle, put the cap back on, and this is going to go back into the refrigerator until next week. So I believe, if I remember correctly, for 28 days, I will do the 0.25 dose. I will do that 0.25 dose. So that's it, you guys. I will track my weight. I will track my sugars to make sure that everything is going down the way it needs to be. And then we'll see. Thanks for joining me on this journey. I will share, and wish me luck. Bye-bye.